Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do double crochets. So in previous videos I've done the single crochets in rounds and also in rows. Today I'm going to be showing you the double crochet in the rows, but also how to turn your work with a double crochet. It's similar to turning your work with single crochet, except where you start your stitches for the next round and how much you chain up, that'll be a little bit different. So right here I just started just a little something. It's no specific pattern, it's just me, like if I wanted to do a scarf, this is what I would follow. And I've got 15 double crochet across. So I'm going to show you how that looks, how a double crochet looks. And I always pull out extra yarn, so if you see that, all that yarn, that's what that is. Also right here, this is not connected to the ball. This is just my tail. It will be worked in later, because typically when I have pieces like this, I go around at the very end, work all the way around, and the tail gets worked in. If it doesn't, I will work it in myself. Okay, so here we go. For a double crochet, we are going to be working into these stitches. Let me pull up this yarn so that I can show you. Right here, that V-stitch, we're going to be going into that. We're going to be going into that. And the next one, that, and so on. So when you turn it like that, those are the stitches that we're going into. That one, which will look like this from the top. Okay, and then that one, which looks like that from the top. Okay. So, to do a double crochet, pretty easy. We're going to take the yarn. We're going to wrap it over the hook. Before we go anywhere, we are going to wrap it over the hook. Okay? Then we're going into that stitch right there, the next stitch. Again, it will be that stitch right there. Right there. See how that looks? So, again, wrap the yarn. Okay, that's where we're starting. And we are going into that stitch right there. Okay, go through. Then take the yarn, wrap it again. Okay, then pull through this loop that you just went through. You should have 3 loops on the hook. See that? 3 loops. Let me see if I can. Okay. Take this working yarn, wrap it over. So now you have 4 loops on the hook. Take that and pull it through 2. Now you have 2 loops on the hook. Wrap it again and pull through 2. That's a double crochet. I'm going to show you this again. So now we're going into that one right there. See that? From the front and from the top. Okay? So wrap the yarn over the hook. Go into that next right there. Let me try to see if this will let me. Alright, so we wrapped. We're going to go into that right there. Okay? See? Now take that yarn, wrap it over the hook. Bring this back through that stitch you just went through. You will have 3 loops on your hook. Wrap the yarn again, bring through 2. You have 2 loops on the hook. Wrap the yarn again and bring through. I'll show you what that looks like a little sped up. So I'm wrapping, going through, putting some yarn on, got 3, wrap again, go through 2, wrap again, and go through 2. So as you're learning, some of your stitches will look bigger and smaller, and you can always undo them, or just sometimes it just takes giving it a little like pull on it and it might straighten out. So again, pretty easy. We're going to wrap the yarn, go into the next stitch, which will be right here. See? And what that's going to look like through the top, see? Like that. Okay. Take this working yarn, wrap it over that yarn. Now hook it and bring it through. You should have 3 loops on the hook. Wrap it again, bring it through 2, and bring it through another 2. There you go, double crochet. I have to apologize for my ridiculous looking nails. The yarn, I think it's the yarn. It tends to dry out my nails. I wear stuff on it, but it makes them like crack and stuff, so they're looking a little rough today. Again, so we're going to wrap, put it through right there. It's the next stitch. See that right there? Right there. We're going to go in right there. Okay. Take this yarn. Sorry, I'm looking through the camera instead of my work. So wrap it like that. Okay. I know it's hard to see, but it's on there. Pull it through. 3 loops on the hook. Okay. Pull through 2. Wrap and pull through 2. That's a double crochet. So I'll show you quickly. So when I'm doing my double crochets, see how they're pushed all the way towards there? That's just, it's a little different, I think, for everybody. Some people are like closer towards the front, but let me take all that off. So some people I've seen when they crochet are really, really close to the front. Some are further back. It really is whatever feels good for you. So if you notice, when I go through and bring it up, they're always towards the back. I like to, because I feel like they all get at the same length and the loops are all the same, you know, height and everything. So then I will move it towards the center a little bit and then I finish. But it happens so quickly that you wouldn't really notice. And I'm constantly moving the hook around. So yeah. So I'm going to finish working here and I'm going to try to explain how we work when we get to the end and how we're going to turn it. So doing another double crochet. Sorry, I think that one might have been off camera. Doing another double crochet. One more double. These ones get a little hard to see because this right here technically is not a double crochet. It's actually just a chain 2, which is going to count as a double crochet. So I'm going to go in right here, right there, for my second to last double crochet. And this is where a lot of people mess up. They think, oh, look at that, I'm at the end of the row. You're not. You actually have one more right there. That is a chain 2, but that is actually going to act as a double crochet for working in rows. So if you were to skip this and then turn your work and go and then do the same thing there, your work is slowly going to get narrower. It's going to look a little weird. A lot of people do that with their work and they are like, why is my work getting smaller and smaller? What helps when you're first learning, and I still do it, count. Make sure that you have 15 or whatever stitch that you started with. Make sure that you always have that. So right now, if I count, there's only going to be 14 on here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We need 15. So since this is a chain 2, we have to look. Let me pull that up. We need to look for where the 1 chain and then the 2nd chain, which is right here. And sometimes the chains are really tricky to find, right? But sometimes just try to find a spot. I know this is like not what people would teach you, but I'm going to tell you what works for me sometimes, because some projects that I work on are very detailed and it gets a little complicated. So I look for a spot that I can go into that's not going to affect the rest of my work, but it's going to bring my stitch up to the height that it needs to be. So if you look, if I were to put it in there right now, let me move this out of the way. If I were to put my stitch in there right now, that's going to take me up to the height that I need it to be. If I were down here, that would mess that up. It needs to be higher. So I know that's where I need to go. Plus, that is where the 2nd chain is. So we're going to act as if that is a double crochet, chain, wrap, go into that chain, and it will be tight. So when you're doing your chains, make sure that you're keeping them loose, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So again, starting over, wrapping, going into that chain. I know it's really hard to see. Okay. We're going to wrap, pull through, 3 chains on the hook, or 3 loops on the hook, sorry. We're going to wrap again, pull through 2, wrap again, pull through 2. So now, do you see the difference between, this is going to be curled a little bit. You'll see why when we get back to that side. But now you have 15. Before, when you had 14, it was slightly inward like that. You might not notice at first, but it is. So then we get to the end. This is how we're, oh, let me get some yarn here. Okay, got that. Hopefully the light is a little bit better today. I tried to really readjust it. I tried a different background. I wasn't liking it, so this is what I'm working with. Okay, so we're at the end of the row. This is how we're gonna turn our work. We are going to chain 2, and remember, chain 2 is just, you're going to wrap the yarn, pull it through, wrap the yarn, and pull it through. We just did 2 chains. Okay, so it should look something like that. Right, trying to adjust that. Okay, then we're going to turn our work. This seems tricky, but trust me, it will get easier with practice. So right here we have this chain 2. Remember, this chain 2 is going to act as a double crochet. So with the double crochet, we will not be going into that first, let me pull that up. We will not be going into that first stitch right there. That very first hole, we're not going into that. Let me take that out so you can see. See how there's an opening there? We're not going through that because we just made our first stitch by doing the chain 2. So instead, we are, because if you look, that would be our double crochet and we would be working into that. But we chain 2, so we don't need to. We're going to go into that one instead, right there. So, because if you go into that first one, where that hole is right there, your work will then start going outwards. But to keep everything in line, we already did our first stitch. So we are going to skip that first one. We're going into that one. So you're going to wrap the yarn over the hook, put it through that right there, that one. Okay? Wrap the yarn over the hook again and pull it through that stitch you just went through. 3 loops on the hook. Regular double crochet, wrap, go through 2, wrap, go through 2. So now you have 2 double crochet in that row. Technically 1 double crochet and a chain 2. However, that chain 2 is going to mock our double crochet. Now, to help you, you can always put a stitch marker in that chain 2, in the second chain of that chain 2, so that you know where to turn or where to put your last stitch. And actually, I'm going to take that out quickly so I can show you exactly where that chain 2 is, because that chain 2 can be hard to find. So let me go back to as if we were at the end of the row. Right? Okay. We're back at the end of the row. Let's do our 1, 2. Let's flip our work. Okay. So now we know that's a chain 2 right there. See that? We're going to skip that stitch, go into that one instead. Go there, there, and there. Your chain 2 will be right there. The chain that you want that to go into. Right there. So it should look something like that. Okay, I'm going to continue with double crochets across. So we have 4 on the hook, or sorry, 4 done right now. I should probably lay that flat. It's a little easier to see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. 6. Jesus. 7. I have to focus on the work. I keep looking at the actual camera, but I have to look at the work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. We're going into the 8th. Wrapping, going through, wrapping, going through 2 and 2. That's 9. 10. 11. 12. And if this is going too fast, you guys can always pause and slow it down a bit. I know that there's ways that you can do that and slow it down. I've had to do that. Trust me, I've had to do that with all sorts of videos. So here we go. Now, it may look like we have, well, you can tell that we have 2 more to go into. Let me spread that out so that you can see. You can visibly tell that we have 1. Try zooming in. 1, 2. But once we go into that one, it's going to, when we go into that one, it's going to look like we're at the end of the row, which we won't be. See how deceiving that can kind of be? Because it looks so close. But this does, you can tell that we are missing 1. So we have 1 more to do in this row. And we can show that by counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we know that we have 1 more. Again, this is a chain 2. It's not an actual double crochet, but it's going to act as a double crochet, because when working in rows, that's what we're doing when we turn our work. So right here we have chain 1, and right in here we have a chain 2. I know it's a little hard to see, but there is a chain 2 there. Let me see if I can pull up the yarn there, just so I can show you guys. So right there, that's it. There's actually, yeah, there's a space right there that you guys will be working into. Right there. And after I'm done putting my double crochet in here, I'm going to put the stitch marker in there to show you guys. Well, you already know because I did it with this one, but that way, if it helps you guys doing your work, then you can do that. So again, I'm going to go through that chain that's right there. See that right there? Okay, do a regular double crochet, wrapping it and pulling it through. You should have 3 loops on the hook. Wrap, pull through 2, wrap and pull through 2. Now when you look at it, it looks better. It doesn't look like it's missing a stitch. Of course, this will always curl in right at this spot where you started, because your chain 2 is going to move over a little bit. So we're at the end again. We're going to chain 1, chain 2. So it's like that. We're just going to take our work and flip it, turn it. Okay, so again, normally it would look like we would be going through that hole right there. We're not going to do that. We're actually going to go through that second hole, because with the first hole, that would be where technically your first stitch would go, but because we chained up 2, it's just that is our first stitch. So we will not go in there, because again, if you put it in that first hole right there, your work is going to start getting way too, you're going to add stitches. So if you're going for like this, just straight lines, you do not want to go into that stitch. So we are going to skip that first one, go into the second one. So chain, and go into that, do that, and that, just like that. And again, see how it kind of like curls towards? That's okay. That's going to do that. I'm going to put a stitch marker in the second chain. It's going to be a little hard to see, but as you're doing it, you should be able to notice. If not, you just count back. So we have 1, and then here is the second chain right there. So let me put that right in there. Okay. Sorry, I think one of the cats, I think they're eating kind of loud. I can hear them. I was wondering what that noise was. I think it's one of the cats. Okay, so another thing, since we are chaining 2 to replicate a double crochet, I've seen so many patterns where they chain 3. If you want to do a chain 3, do what works for you. I prefer doing a chain 2. If you're doing your stitches really tight, you might want to do a chain 3. I usually do my stitches tight, but I know when I'm working on stuff like this to keep my last ones a little loose, my chains a little loose, so that I don't have to do a chain 3. Because for me personally, my chain 3s seem like they're a little too, like when I look at my work, it looks like it's a little too loose. I like my work to be nice and tight. So that is that. I'm going to show you a couple more double crochets here and one last turn. So I'm just going to crochet till I get to the end. And I will show you one more turn. Crocheting is a lot easier than people realize, and I try to tell people that all the time when I'm at my craft fairs, that I get a lot of, oh, I can never do that, and I always tell them, you absolutely can do that. It's not as hard as it seems, and I always tell people, if you ever need help or want to learn, just let me know. I will do it free of charge because it's such a nice craft, and it keeps my hands busy, especially while I'm watching TV or while I'm waiting for my next work shift to start. So I hope these videos really inspire people to want to start. So I'm at the end of the row. I have one more to go. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we are going to go into, what's nice is that stitch marker is there, so we know that's where we want to do our next stitch. So let's remove that. All right, just keep an eye on where you're removing it. And we're going to do our next double crochet into that. And there it is. That's 15. Chain 2. Turn your work, and then skip that first right there, skip that, but go into the next one because your chain 2 is going to act as a stitch. Okay, I always pull up my yarn. I'm gonna look for that second chain, which is right here, and that's it. Okay, so that is double crocheting in rows and turning your work. I think I'm going to try making a video about double crocheting in rounds because I've done one for single crocheting in rounds, but that I might find like a little simple pattern just to show you what that would look like, because it's a little different, because instead of flipping your work, you're just continually working in a round. Okay, so that is that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.